So, what if I told you the world is on the brink of a whole new era of chaos? Now, that's not just my opinion. That's the stark warning coming from the world's leading risk experts. And today, we're going to dive in and break down exactly what they're seeing for our future. Right now, the overwhelming feeling from these global reports is, well, pretty pessimistic. The consensus is that we're not just hitting a little bump in the road. No, this feels more like a seismic shift in the very foundations of our world. It's a fundamental change where stability is eroding and insecurity is kind of becoming the new norm. And this data from the World Economic Forum, wow, it really lays it out. You can see that while experts think the next 2 years are going to be a rough patch, they see the next decade as a full-blown storm. This tells us we're not just dealing with isolated flare-ups. We're looking at deep, structural problems that are pretty much set to define the next 10 years of our lives. So what's causing this global sense of dread? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is the dramatic shift in global power. The old world order is kind of crumbling, and what's starting to emerge is a far more dangerous and unpredictable landscape. A key driver here is this new trend called adversarial cooperation. You can think of it as a shadow alliance between nations like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. They're all united by one common goal: to challenge the dominance of the United States. And they are actively working together to get around sanctions and reshape the global stage to their advantage. And here you can see the web of these new alliances really taking shape. This isn't just one or two countries talking. It's a whole network of cooperation that spans the globe. You've got Russia and North Korea with mutual defense pacts, China and Russia getting cozier on the military front, and even economic deals for oil and copper that help prop up rogue regimes. Every single one of these is a new fault line in global stability. And make no mistake, this isn't just about political posturing. The risk of real, actual wars is higher than it's been in years. In fact, for the first time in a long time, the world's top risk experts are saying that a major war between nations is the single biggest threat we face right now. And if that doesn't worry you, get this. An incredible 84% of these experts now believe there is a significant risk of a global war. I mean, that is just a terrifying number, and it shows you just how close to the brink we might actually be. But listen, the battle for global dominance isn't just being fought with tanks and missiles anymore. There's a whole new front in this conflict, and it's being fought in the digital world, a borderless battlefield with completely new rules of engagement. And for the people on the front lines of managing global risk, business leaders and security professionals, the threat from things like cyber attacks and rogue AI is even more terrifying than the prospect of a world war. A staggering 86% of them say that technology is their number one concern. And that's really the great paradox of our time, isn't it? The very same technology that could cure diseases and solve some of our biggest problems could also be used to create a pretty dystopian future. AI has the potential to be our salvation, or it could be our doom. This brings us to what a lot of experts believe is the most insidious threat of all: the weaponization of information itself. In an age of deep fakes, AI power propaganda, and internet troll farms, how can we possibly solve our biggest problems if we can't even agree on what's real anymore? But it's not just the sudden shocks, like war and technology, that we need to worry about. There are also these slow-motion disasters unfolding all around us, in our environment and in our communities. And they are getting dangerously close to a tipping point. And here you see the two faces of this slow-motion disaster. On one side, a planet that's literally burning up, and on the other, societies that are tearing themselves apart. And these two things, they're deeply connected. A world of drought, famine, and forced migration is a world of anger, fear, and division. And this isn't just a vague feeling, it's a fact. The data shows that we are more divided than ever before. It feels like we're retreating into our own bubbles, losing the ability to see the world from anyone else's perspective. That common ground we used to share, it's shrinking by the day. But what's really fascinating, though, is that the reasons for this division are different all over the world. In the US, it's the poison of social media. In Europe, it's the intense debate around immigration. In Africa, it's the rage of the have-nots against the haves. The disease is global, but the symptoms are local. So we've looked at a world on the brink of war. We've talked about runaway technology, and we've seen how our societies are fracturing. But the real story here, the most crucial takeaway from all of this expert analysis, is how all of these crises are connected.
We're not just facing a series of separate crises anymore. We're facing what experts are now calling a polycrisis. It's basically a perfect storm of interconnected disasters that feed on each other, creating a whole that is far more dangerous than the sum of its parts.
Think about it like a domino effect. An extreme weather event in one country can cause a famine, which can fuel social unrest, which can spark a civil war, which a foreign power can then exploit, and that can escalate into a wider conflict. It's a chain reaction, and it's happening all over the world. We're seeing this play out in real time in places like the Middle East. The old rules of the game, they're pretty much gone. And what's left is a cycle of violence that just keeps getting worse. It's a tragic living example of what happens when all of these different crises collide in one place. So the question these reports really leave us with is this: are we up to the challenge? In a world where every crisis just seems to fuel another one, can we find a way to work together to break the cycle before it's too late? Or are we destined to be the generation that just watched the world burn?